Alrighty guys, welcome back to episode 2 of Pokemon Scarlet. In the last episode we finally picked out a starter. I decided to go with Quaxley. I just like the silly duck toy. And we were supposed to meet Nimona for our first rival battle. However, there are goodies to be found around this little area here, and I don't want to miss out on anything. So we're gonna grab all of those first, and then we'll go ahead and challenge Nimona for our first rival battle. It's not gonna be super difficult, so we don't necessarily need to worry about it. By the time you're watching this, it'll officially be Saturday morning. And I've decided that I'm gonna get at least one video out each day. That being said, I don't have a set plan to make a game-specific schedule, so it'll probably be something a little different each day. Might be Pokemon Scarlet, could be part of the Platinum playthrough as well. It'll just kind of depend on how I'm feeling and what sort of recordings I've been able to put up. Once I've got a better idea of what's been working and what hasn't, then I'll definitely go about creating a formal schedule. And I want to give it about a month, honestly, and just kind of see what's working, what's not, before I go ahead and, you know, put set days up for anything, because there's probably going to be days where I don't feel like creating anything, and I just want to make sure that the videos that I am recording are the ones that are going to be, you know, the most appealing for everyone else to watch as well. So, but anyways, so let's go ahead and get this first battle out of the way. And these games, of course, have you starting out with a Pokemon that's stronger than your rivals. I can rename him Toothpaste. Well, his name's Quack forever. Oh well. If I can find a way to rename him later, I will. But anyway, so as long as you go ahead and use your type-specific matchup move, this should be a relatively easy battle to get taken care of. It's nearly impossible to lose a large battle these days. They've gone out of their way to make it really easy for little kids to pick up the game stuff. It's a feature that I wish Nintendo would maybe include in their games, where you can select if you're an adult or returning Pokemon player versus like a newbie or like a little kid, so that the gameplay itself, maybe the AI is a little bit better. Kind of like how in Diamond and Pearl, like the first, like the remakes, I mean specifically, like the first chunk of the game was kind of very like straightforward, a little bit easier, and then once you got to the Elite Four, all the like teams had like maxed out EVs and IVs and stuff, and like really good strategies. That kind of stuff, but like something that you could select right at the beginning of the game that would indicate like, hey, this is how difficult everything's gonna be. I just think that would be really cool. But anyway, once we get through this dialogue here, we'll be able to more or less get started. And I have some Pokemon in mind that I'd like to pick up for my playthrough, and one of them is definitely going to be doubling up on the types, but we're going to run into another one right on the first route as well, so hopefully that should make it pretty easy. And then, let's see here. That's our Pokedex, and I'm for sure going to try and catch everything that we see as we go, so that later on, when it's time to actually complete the dex, I can take care of that. But that's something that I'm going to go ahead and deal with. I'm gonna, basically I have a different format that I'm gonna be working with. So on main episodes, I'm gonna go ahead and play it straight through, get to like different gyms and stuff, get to different checkpoints. And then in the middle of those certain checkpoints, as long as it doesn't look like anyone's gonna evolve anytime soon, I'm actually gonna go ahead and go on stream and do any of my like my catching and my grinding and just any kind of level up stuff from there. And then I'll do a recap in between episodes if anything, you know, specific happens, but that way I can still do my grinding not on like official episodes, but I can also, you know, still put out content. It's gonna be kind of like a loose live stream setup too, so there's not gonna be a ton of dialogue most likely, but if there are people in the chat, then chances are I'll probably be relatively active, I guess. And then, right about here is where we're going to get that key item that every anime protagonist and How to Train Your Dragon viewer is familiar with. Where is it at? Here we go. The sandwich. And if any of you have seen a playthrough or perhaps done this yourself, you already know what that sandwich is actually going to be used for. Obviously, we're not going to be the ones to eat it because it's a key item, but it'll be a lot of fun. Alrighty. And then also going forward too, I have my background set up to mimic my entertainment unit at home. I mentioned it in the last episode, but I wanted to mimic the ideal feeling as if you're like sitting in my room with me watching me play without actually having to sit there with me. And if for some reason that loses its appeal, by all means, I would appreciate a comment letting me know, because the only way for me to know for sure if something's not working is if other people tell me. Obviously, no news is bad news in, you know, entertainment world, but, it still would be, you know, helpful to get an actual visual cue on it. But if you do like it, go ahead and hit that like button, or, you know, leave me a comment letting me know specifically, like, if you're, you know, if the background's, you know, particularly appealing or anything like that, so that I know what's kind of cute and what I need to get rid of. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. Let's see here. And then we're gonna get the Pokeball outlet here. Let's see. And just for general convenience, I'm gonna try and keep these episodes at about 15 minutes apiece, so there's a really good chance that we're probably only gonna be getting to like one tutorial at a time in between episodes, just based on what I specifically want to do. And then I think I've never seen what happens if you intentionally fail this catch. I think they make you do another one, so I'll probably just catch this one to play it safe. But I will not be using this one on my team. Once we get that, it's basically a guaranteed catch every time. It does offer an option in the tutorial for what happens if it doesn't catch. So I have to assume the odds for that specific tutorial one have been boosted, but probably not to the extent where it's impossible to miss a catch, at least one. The specifics on that I'm not entirely sure of, but... let's see here... Another thing that's going to be useful in this particular generation is that there's non-generation specific Pokemon to work with as well, and there are a few Pokemon that I haven't specifically used before. But yeah, so hopefully we can get some, you know, some old appearances and some new ones as well. I'll try to keep it about as balanced as I can. But we'll see kind of what ends up being the case. Go. And now, and the other thing that you're gonna see up on the screen as well is as you're catching Pokemon or defeating them in battle, you'll get items off of it, which is another great reason to check. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a really good reason to, you know, still do battles and still check in and try to catch one or two Pokemon for the Pokedex, just because those specific items that you will acquire, you can actually use to build TMs. So in this game, TMs break again, but they're actually ones that you can remake. So as long as you know how to make it, and as long as you have the materials for it, you can make it as many times as you like, which is kind of cool. Not catching anything out here though. I almost caught Fletchling, because Fletchling is actually a pretty solid Pokemon, but I kind of already have an idea in my head of what I want to use for my fire type eventually. And I've also got a potential flying type in mind as well. I guess I'll have to wait and see kind of what it's starting to look like the longer it goes, but I'm trying to get all these. Basically any curb or ledge that you think you might be just a little bit too short for, just go ahead and give it a try anyway, because chances are, if it looks high up, it's not impossible still. Hopefully that's a patch that they'll make in the newer games. Alright, so I think that's all of those. Alright, so I do like how all the Pokemon move and walk at different paces now. That's always appreciated. Let's see here. Oop, I'm not going to be able to grab that item before the cutscene. Darn it. I've been doing it for almost 20 years. I think I'm doing pretty good. The good news is your loud buddy will interrupt her intervention on how many Pokemon you've caught. In previous generations, it used to be that your, I guess, either rival or like assistant trainer friend would like step in and let you know how many you've caught, just to give you an idea of like if you theoretically should be advancing better, or like, you know, if you've already caught plenty. But they won't do that for every route going forward. Generally speaking, it's just better to catch what you want to catch and not focus on the dex during the tutorial, because the tutorial itself already takes so freaking long to get through that you don't really want to drag it out too much. Like, even now grabbing items, the only reason I'm grabbing certain items is because I know it's going to be worse trying to go back for them rather than just getting them now. It's flowers, okay. And I do have to go down here. So what I'm probably going to do is we'll get to the cutscene chunk here, and we'll end it right around the 15-minute mark, and then we'll continue it again on episode 3. But, yeah, like I said, I'm not catching anything on this route yet, so we'll go ahead and deal with this first. Look at the house. Look at them. That's not what sound they make. Can't harass the little puppies. Oh, we're dead. Saved by technology. Snowflake. You gotta fall like a real American. Oy vey. Yeah, just kidding. But it is actually kind of cool that the Rotom foam breaks in for that. And then I think this is actually a perfect place to cut it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bid you guys farewell. And if you're tuning in the day of, fantastic. If you're watching this a little later, then we'll see you at the next episode. But anybody watching on Saturday, have a good rest of your day. And we will see you again on Sunday.